Okay, looking at this Eagles schedule, first glance, I think we're going 14-2. How's everybody doing? My name is Christopher Brown, and you're now listening to Sports Talk with Chris, episode 4, my live reaction and prediction to the 2020-2021 Eagles schedule. Now, I know some people are probably thinking, Chris, you a madman. You talking about you realistic. We out here being foolish, talking about 14-2. I want you to listen, and I want you to think about it through my perspective. I want you to listen, and I want you to understand where I'm coming from. At week 1 against Washington, that's an easy win. Washington isn't good enough yet. Their quarterback isn't developed yet. Their offensive line is not developed at all. I mean, yeah, they got a couple good receivers. They got a nice little defense, but they still young. They don't have enough experience. I think our experience is way up there. Our talent is way better than theirs. Our head coach is better than theirs. So I say that's the easy win to start off the season. Now versus the Rams at home, that's a win. I mean, the Rams roster has completely depleted since we saw it a couple years ago when they went out and signed all them free agents and traded for all them big names. They all left. You know, Aaron Donald's still there, but he can't do it all on his own. Their offense is in shambles. McVay does not know what to do. They might end up the worst team in their division this year. Like that's the easy one. Now at home against Cincinnati, again, that's another easy win. I mean, Cincinnati is young with only a couple good players on their roster. They're in total rebuild mode. They're in total rebuild mode. They might even get the first pick again. They don't got enough good players on their roster to be a competitive team. Now at San Fran, that's a loss. I'm gonna be honest, that's a loss. It's going to be a good game though. I don't think we're going to get blown out. I mean, they're probably the second best roster in the league. They got a good running game, got a good quarterback, good passing game, and a great defense with a head coach that knows what he's doing that can win games. Now at Pittsburgh, that's an easy win. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger, you're trash. You need to retire. They don't have good receivers. Their running game is iffy. The only thing they can hang their head on is defense, but we have defense too, and we have offense. So I see us winning that game. Then at home against Baltimore, that's going to be a good game. That's going to be a good game. I got friends that are Baltimore Ravens fans. I got family that's Baltimore Ravens fans. It's probably going to be talking trash to me after I'm saying this, but I'm going to be realistic. I see us losing that game. I know it's at home, but Baltimore's roster is probably the best roster in the league. Returning MVP, I think he's going to be a 2-time MVP. They improved their already great roster, so I mean that's going to be a hard one, but I see that being a loss. And then at home against the Giants, another easy win. Too young, not good enough, not enough experience, not enough pieces. They just aren't there yet. Then at home against the Dallas Cowboys. Now the Cowboys to me lost too much in free agency to be competitive. They lost their good corner, they lost linemen, they lost their best safety, they lost too much on defense. Yes, they got CeeDee Lamb, yes, they got a good offense, but they also lost their O-line. Their O-line isn't the same anymore. They don't even have a top 5 offensive line. Them years came and gone. Now Dak Prescott, he don't know what kind of contract he want. He talking about he want to get paid the most. He's not worth the most. I don't think they're going to be ready in a regular season. I don't think they're going to have the chemistry in the regular season. I don't even know if Dak Prescott is going to return for the regular season. The starting quarterback might be Andy Dalton. If it's Andy Dalton, that's going to be even easier one. Now, at New York Giants, that's another one. I mean, we're going to win a division. We're going to sweep the division. Giants, like I said, too young, not good enough yet, not enough experience, not enough players, and they got a first-year head coach that I do not have no faith in. Now, at Cleveland. Cleveland is one of those teams last year that I had a lot of high hopes for. They had a really talented roster, especially on the offensive side. But then they folded, and I feel like it might be the same this year. I just don't think their chemistry is there. Something for them is not clicking. I don't know if it's coaching, I don't know if it's players. It just hasn't clicked. Baker Mayfield, I don't think is as good as people thought he was. I mean, he's decent compared to a lot of the other quarterbacks. He's average. But I don't think he's ready to lead that team. And when he's not ready to lead that team, they're going to lose games they should win. These are one of them games that they're looking at their roster and saying, okay, it's going to be a competitive game. We can win this. But the fact that they have no good experience and no good leadership, they're going to lose games like this against teams that have good experience and good leadership. That's why we're going to win that game. Now, at Seattle at home on a Monday night. I got to talk about this because I got a good buddy that's a Seahawks fan, and he swears up and down that the Seahawks are light years ahead of better than the Eagles, and I gotta explain this. We're gonna win that game. I think we're gonna dominate that game, and this is why. We lost to them in the regular season last year. We had so many mistakes that I was ultra confident for that playoff game. I was not worried at all because we had so many mistakes in that regular season game that's the type of game where you just gotta chalk it up. It just wasn't our day. It just wasn't our day. We had passes, missed on passes. I'm like, all right, this is not our day. We get a rematch, we could beat these guys. And we were going to beat them in the playoffs if Jadeveon Clowney did not take a cheap shot against Carson Wentz. Everybody knows that was a cheap shot. I'm mad now, but imagine how mad I was when that happened. I wanted to punch a hole through a wall. He did not try to tackle him. He dived at him head first and took him out the game. We almost won that game with a backup quarterback, Josh McCown, that is like 50 years old. No offense to you, bro, because I was so happy when you got in that game. But he's old. They say he had a torn hamstring, but he didn't want to come out because we knew we had another quarter. We did not have another quarterback on the roster, so we had to play that game, and he almost won us that game. Now imagine if we had Carson Wentz, we would have busted ass. We would have demolished them. That's why I think going into this year with all the improvements we made to our roster on the defensive side, on the offensive side, and all the key pieces we need to be a title contender, oh, I think we're going to beat Seattle. I don't even think it's going to be close. Now, at Green Bay, I think we're going to win that against. We beat Green Bay last year at Green Bay. And the roster we have this year is way better than the roster we had last year. And the roster Packers had last year is better than the one they have this year. I mean, they didn't get no help for Aaron Rodgers. It's him and Devontae Adams. They playing throw it up and catch it. They have no help for him. No help. And now that we have a number one corner that can go against him, he won't carve us up for 170 yards. So I don't know what they're going to do because they have no weapons. And they got running backs, but we got one of the best running defenses in the league, run-stopping defenses in the league. Then you add the fact that we got all these weapons now on offense, we're going to be able to put points on the board. Come on now, that's a win. Now, against the Saints, and it's at home. Listen to me when I tell you this. We're playing at home. We're playing at home. I don't care what nobody say. Playing at home is a factor. It's a factor. Now I'm looking at the Saints roster. I'm looking at our roster. And this year is probably the best year that we're comparing up against them. We finally got somebody that I feel confident in putting on Michael Thomas and said, go over there, y'all go at it. Now, Michael Thomas is a top 2, top 3 receiver in the league. But Darius Slay is not no chump. I think he can hold his own. And I think he's going to give us time, our D-line, to go get at Drew Brees. I don't think their running game is the same after they let Mark Ingram go. I don't consider them a top-tier running team in the league anymore. Drew Brees is only getting older. So he's not as good of a quarterback as he was. We could totally take advantage of that. And then you look at their defense and our offense, we got more weapons. So it's not going to be a slaughterhouse where they're scoring all these points and we can't score. No, we can score back at them. And at the end of the day, if they're scoring and we scoring and we're at home, I'm giving us the advantage. Somebody tell me why. Tell me 5 reasons why we're going to lose that. Because I can't think of 5 reasons we're going to lose. Do they have a better coach? I mean, they can't seem to win in the playoffs. They can't seem to get out the first 2 rounds. So, I mean, do they have the better coach? Do they have the better QB? He was injured last year. Could they win him another playoff game in the first round? Do they have the better team? I mean, they're not winning when it counts. I mean, they could do all this in the regular season. But in the playoffs, they're not doing it where it counts. So I think we have a better roster this year. I don't think there's no lopsided game where it's all Saints. Saints going to destroy us. No, they're playing at Philadelphia. And Philadelphia is going to take the win. Now at Arizona. Arizona has made a lot of improvements to their roster, but they're not I see us winning. I don't think they're a championship level team just yet. I think they're a good playoff team. They can make a wild card run, but it's late in the season. We're clicking. I don't think nobody's stopping us. So I see that's a win. Then we're at Dallas. Dallas fans, if there anybody listening to this, y'all trash. We're gonna beat y'all at Dallas. We're going at the end of the season. We're clicking. Y'all probably in shambles because y'all know y'all not making the playoffs. Y'all don't know what to do. Y'all don't know if y'all gonna sign Dak, trade Dak. Y'all gonna know if y'all gonna get rid of your new head coach. By this time of the season, Dallas does what Dallas do, and that's they look up and they say, Jerry, what to do, because they not winning. So by Dallas, then at home against Washington. That's another win. I mean, I told you why. They're too young, not talented enough, not experienced enough. So 14-2 Eagles. Somebody prove me wrong. Somebody tell me, Chris, you're delusional. I want to hear it. I don't just want to hear, Chris, you're delusional. You don't make no sense. Please tell me why I make no sense. Try to prove my points wrong. Thank you all for listening to my podcast today. If you have any questions or you want to talk about what I discussed in this podcast, you can reach me at Instagram and Twitter at sportsw_Chris. sportsw_Chris. Thank you all for listening and stay tuned for future episodes. Peace!